Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tina and today we're making chicken stir fry, Asian style. So let's go ahead and get started with the ingredients you'll need for our dish today. We're going to start off with at least 1 pound of chicken chopped up pretty finely into small little bits you could see here. They do not need to be exact, however, just small bits so that they could fry up very easily. We will need a heaping tablespoon of garlic and ginger paste, a half a teaspoon of black pepper powder, 1 teaspoon of crushed red peppers, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. This is going to be all mixed in to the chicken. The vegetables that I'm going to be using today is celery. I have 2 stalks cut up and chopped up quite thinly. At least 5 scallions, green onions, and I cut them quite thick, did a rough chop. 2 large carrots that I cut not so thinly, but have at least 1/4 of a diameter here. So then we have onions, regular onions. So this is 1 medium-sized onion that I did a fairly quick chop on, nothing too fancy, and 1 whole medium-sized capsicum or bell pepper. So these are the vegetables I'll be using. You could use whatever vegetable you have on hand. This is what I have on hand. If I had broccoli, I would do broccoli. If I had frozen vegetables, I would do frozen vegetables. There is no limit on this one. Next item is, of course, oil. Any kind of oil. I am doing vegetable oil. And this is, I don't have an exact quantity for this because we'll be using it as needed. We have, of course, our amazing sriracha sauce. We will be using at least 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons worth of sriracha sauce. Could be even more. We could eyeball it at this point. We have kikkoman sauce, soy sauce. At least 1/4 of a cup will be needed for this recipe. Tomato ketchup, and I'm going to be using at least 2 to 3 tablespoons of this just to bring out additional flavor. That tartness really brings in the flavor. Cornstarch. We're going to be using at least 2 tablespoons worth of cornstarch. Water, and the optional ingredient here, peanuts. If you have a peanuts allergy, please omit, but if you do not, it brings an additional wonderful crunch to this dish. So let's go ahead and get started with our dish. Alright, so I've been heating up my wok for at least a minute or 2. So I have this on medium high. So let's start by putting our oil in here. And I'm going to start by frying up my chicken first because that will take the most amount of time. As you can see, I put in close to maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. Alright, and then take my chicken. Be sure the wok is hot. And just dump this in. And crank up the heat to high because this is a fairly fast cooking recipe. I'm going to take in all my ingredients and just as usual, just dump it all in. This process in itself should take close to 5 minutes. And we'll just keep on stirring here. Let's get this heat a little higher. And as you can see, the little chicken pieces were cut thinly enough. They're not all in one particular, thickness. If you could get it to a certain thickness, it'll definitely fry faster. Make sure that you mix thoroughly so that all the spices get mixed in here pretty well. And again, just as a reminder, I put in my crushed chili peppers in there. my black pepper powder, salt, and my ginger garlic paste. Alright. The hotter the pan, the better. If you get a nice charring or browning, that enhances the flavor tenfold. And wherever you see any pink meat, just start mixing it. Try to flip it around so that it gets cooked faster. You hear the nice sizzling. And so I'm making this for a family of 5 people. And if you're just cooking this for yourself, I would even go like a fourth of a portion, to be honest. But this is a great dish if you want to do a portion control, portioning. So you could divide this up into 5 individual boxes, and you have lunch or dinner for a week. This looks really, really good. Another reminder is that this goes along really well with regular plain white rice, boiled rice. You could do brown rice, chow mein noodles if you have any left over, or even if you just want to enjoy it by itself, that works just as well. You can see the black pepper is everywhere, evenly dispersed. We're not even looking for color here. If you could get a color, that's good. I'm just looking for evenly cooked and thoroughly cooked. We don't want raw chicken. We don't want E. coli. So, perfect. We're almost there. Now after this, I'm going to just use the same wok. I'm going to dish this out into a separate plate that I have lying right next to me. Okay, looks like we're there. Alright, I have a plate here. And just start dishing this out. Looks pretty well cooked. And if you're not satisfied that it's thoroughly cooked, it's fine. You could add, keep cooking it for another minute or 2. I feel that I'm at a good point right now. Oh, and be sure to lower the heat before you get splashed with the chicken juices. All right. So I'm going to set this aside here, and so you can see there's a little bit of residue. This is perfect. I'm going to just add a little bit of oil, just a little splash of oil, and then crank the heat back up, and then I'm going to just add the onions. And what I'm looking for is a little bit of coloration, not too much. I like the vegetables to be slightly raw, so this is maybe a minute worth of cooking for each of my vegetables. And I'm not going to move this a lot because I want a little bit of browning if possible. If not, it's fine. I'm seeing it already. Alright, this looks perfect. I'm smelling the onions being cooked. It's coming out beautifully. Again, not too much. I don't want to lose the crunch. And I'm going to just put this all into one dish for right now. And you'll see why I'm putting it all in one dish in a few minutes. Come on here. I am now going to do my bell pepper, capsicum. I feel that there's enough oil in here. I don't want to make this dish too oily, so I'm going to take whatever I have in here and try to use the flavoring and the heat. Oh, this one's dancing right here. Alright. And that's the number one trick that I learned about, is keep your wok very hot. Just put in the vegetable and it's flash frying. That's what you're trying to do here. Because you want to remain the crunch and the greenness. And for bell peppers, it becomes extra green. This bright green color comes out. I'm going to switch my handle here just to make it a little more easier. And start dishing it out into my dish here. Alright. Almost there. Perfect. There almost. Alright. I feel like I need a little bit of oil. So adding a little smidge. Taking my celery. Jump. And don't forget to move it around the wok, because there's special juices and flavoring on the side of the wok as well. Sometimes leftover black pepper, it gets stuck with the oil. And as you can see, that is coloring up our celery here. So you could smell the vegetable, just this nice charred almost scent, but not totally. You could smell the colorization, the caramelization of it. Alright, let's dish this out. We don't want too much of the coloring. We want to keep the crunch. Last one. Look at that beautiful color right here. It's beautiful. Okay, so that soaked up all of my oil. I'm going to add a little bit more, and I'm going to add my carrots. Again, not looking to cook this up too much. I love the crunch in my stir fry a little bit. This one might take at least a minute, I would say. I'm going to leave it a minute on each side. You can see that some colorization. Yep, some discoloring is starting to happen. This is exactly what I'm looking for. A little bit of char has started. And if you want, you could throw in, I don't have some right now, but I would love broccoli in this, and a little bit of cabbage. That really brings this dish together to me. But again, whatever I had, I felt like eating stir fry today, and voila. I'm just stirring everything all at once and cooking it. Nothing fancy, just something homemade, simple, and pure. Alright, so I think it's been over approximately 2 minutes, so I'm going to just start dishing this out. Again, don't want to cook too much. Want to have the crunch remain in here. And I'm not going to add oil to my next item, and I'm going to heat up my green onions, scallions. This, I think, is the major flavor profile boosting property here. So if you want a really good stir fry, don't forget to add scallions or green onions. And I'm not going to fry up too much of this, Look at how bright green it turned all of a sudden. All right, perfect. So we'll go ahead and dish this out, and then I will come back to you with what we're gonna do next. All right, so we're back, and now we're going to work on our base sauce for our chicken stir fry. And I have already dished out close to 3 tablespoons, a little bit more, of the cornstarch, corn flour, you know, whatever you get in your region. That's what we have here. Now I'm going to start off with soy sauce, and I normally eyeball this, to be honest. There's no right or wrong with this recipe, but just for good measure, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, and I like 5. Since I have a lot more here. Okay, so I have 5 tablespoons of soy sauce, which measures out to almost 1/4 of a cup. Now I'm going to take some sriracha sauce. You could use any sambal sauce, any chili sauce, chili garlic sauce, whatever you have on hand. Feel free to use that. And I'm going to do 1 heaping tablespoon of the sriracha. Okay, mix this in, and just to cut the heat a little bit, I'm going to use my oh so wonderful and versatile ketchup. Let's go. And again, a tablespoon of this as well. Get confused between a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Not a good thing to do, but hey. You can see a wonderful, nice, thick sauce has started to form here. Okay, I'm gonna mix this in. Now I have my wok on medium right now, a little bit medium heat. I'm gonna just turn it down to a low flame here. And then I'm going to just dump it in here. Alright, along with this, I'm going to add a little bit of water. So, just maybe 1/4 of a cup, maybe? 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 a cup. Now we can start cranking this out. Because I do have a lot of vegetables, and my family does like the stir fry a little saucy. That's why I'm adding a little bit more water. You could reduce your water quantity if you'd like, if you want a drier version of your stir fry. However, if you want a wet version of your stir fry, add more water, more liquids. And if you feel that the flavoring is off, if you need to add a little bit of salt, you like it saltier, feel free to add salt. I just feel that there's enough sodium in my soy sauce and in all of these sauces. I don't need to add additional salt, as well as my chicken had a good amount of salt in there as well. Alright, you can see the sizzling here. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. I feel like it's going to be less sauce. Alright, and then while that's boiling, let's start adding a little bit of water into our cornstarch or corn flour, just to make a slurry. We want to thicken this sauce. Be sure to get it from the sides as well. That's the harder part. And if you feel that you don't have enough cornstarch, which normally is my issue, I go ahead and add more. And this is for your desired thickness. If you like it a little more soupy, again, as I was mentioning before, that's fine. If you don't like it too soupy, you like it extra thick, less water, and more cornstarch if needed. This is surely an eyeball recipe. Alright, so I shouldn't really use a metal spoon on this wok. Not a good practice. I'm going to just take the spoon Just mix it around and let the spices cook a little bit. All right. And be sure to always taste your sauce. I feel that we're good enough salt. And add this slowly. Add the slurry very slowly. And put your stove on a medium heat. You can see that this is immediately thickening up. Alright. Didn't need that much today. Awesome. This is a good thickness. Not too thick, not too thin. Beautiful color, no knots, no little bulges of corn flour. Just be sure to stir it so that there's no lumps. All right, beautiful. Now, while this is cooking, I'm gonna take my stir fry, all my vegetables, all my chicken, and the wonderful juices, and just add it in here. Perfect. This looks absolutely delicious. Now I'm going to turn this up onto medium high, and cook this a little bit so that the chicken gets the nice coating of the sauce. The vegetables are nicely coated as well. I feel that I need a little bit more water. Perfect. This looks delicious. All right. I'm waiting for a bubble, a sizzle here. I'm starting to hear a little bit of sizzling. Had to crank up my heat. Alright, just mix this up really well. There you go. See a little bubbling right here? Perfect. And be sure to taste everything, just to ensure everything's tasting good. If you want to add additional chilies, you can. And I'm going to just let this bubble up a little bit here. Perfect. Now I'm going to add in a handful of dry roasted peanuts, unsalted. I don't like the salted version because it just makes the dish a little more saltier than it is. And trust me, we have enough sodium in here. So just add. I want a little bit more. I love the crunch factor. Mix this up. And there you have it, everybody. Chicken stir fry. So let me dish this out for you guys and let me show you how it looks. Alright guys, so here's our flavorful, crunchy, delicious, filled of umami stir fry. You can see how beautiful it looks. You can see the shiny, glossy look. It's just delicious. The sauce that I had settled down towards the bottom of the bowl, so whenever you are serving, be sure to scoop it from the bottom up so that you could get the delicious sauce as well. And this portion size is good for at least 4 to 5 people, or if you're eating alone, 4 to 5 days. So I'm going to be serving this today to my family with plain boiled white rice, and it just goes absolutely perfectly with that. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to comment down below, and bon appetit.